welcome to all our viewers. Keith, finished off the split round of round 15. Couple of interesting games. You got any comment on them?
Oh, well, no.
Without putting too much thought into it.
No, they were interesting games. Traralgon Wonthaggi, a very key game, and I think that has spelt the end for Wonthaggi's chances after Traralgon sort of stormed home in the third quarter. I think kicked 8 goals and took the match away from Wonthaggi. They're starting to get their side back in shape, Traralgon, and come finals time, and they'll probably have 1 or 2 back from VFL and maybe 1 or 2 from Power, but yeah, so they'll probably shape up pretty well when the finals come around. Wonthaggi just don't seem to be able to kick enough goals to really win the big matches. The other match was Sale and Moore. Again, it might say a lot towards the final. Sale absolutely dominated, could have won by more than 60 points as it was, had they been on target a little bit, but
Well, I think the coach kicked 4-8, didn't he?
well, he kicked 4-8, they still won by 60 points. But yeah, he tends to have about a 50-50 strike rate at good times, but yeah, they're just looking a very, very good side at the moment. Things seem to be falling into place for them. There's still 3 rounds to go where you can get a few setbacks, but yeah, they seem to be going well.
Naomi for the netball.
Netball.
How did that go?
Traralgon had a close game with Wonthaggi, getting over the line by 4 goals, which helped them cement 3rd place. Sale lost to Moore, so Sale's 3rd loss in a row, which has let them drop from 2nd down into 4th, and has meant that Moore still has a chance of making finals, which 2 weeks ago they looked like they didn't have a chance. So it's made things a lot more interesting at the top of the ladder, which is great.
Yeah, geez, something going on at Sale there with the girls, right? All right, we go into round 16, and our first one is Traralgon hosting Druin.
Yeah, well, again, interesting. I think there was probably a couple of players down from injury. But I'm sure they'll give a good account of themselves. I just think Traralgon are building at this stage. Druin hasn't a great deal of incentive other than they do like to win, and they'll give it their best shot, but I just think Traralgon's got a few too many guns now. They've just got to, you've got a couple of players who are always a little bit suspect with injury, but they seem to carry it through and work them well when it comes to finals time and look after them pretty well. So I expect Traralgon to be really sharpening themselves for the run to the finals and to win, but Druin will give them a pretty competitive run.
I think 2 interesting names in the best players for Traralgon. Mr Geary and Mr McKenna are back in form.
Yeah, well, Dan McKenna's been out for, I think he missed 2 or 3 games, but has came back in last week and just sort of rolled off 6 goals, which is pretty handy. Mike Geary, yeah, sort of when you see his names up there at the top of the best players, you know that September's nearing, and yes, he's just a good player.
He's an excellent player, isn't he?
Yep.
Okay, in the netball then, Traralgon and Druin, this is going to be an interesting one or not?
Definitely an interesting one. Both teams started the season a bit slow. Both have come into form right about the right time with 3 weeks to go before finals. Both teams are on a winning streak, but I think that if both teams have their full sides in, it's still Druin that's going to be too strong for Traralgon.
Okay, fair enough. We'll go to, well, in the footy, we say it every week, but Warragul versus Moe. No A grade, but they have got the other 5 grades, we won't forget that, but Warragul hosting Moe.
Yeah, well, this is interesting. This is a battle for the wooden spoon. Not very often, I think, do you get 2 sides that have had 3 wins each fighting off for the wooden spoon, and to avoid it you've got to have at least 4 wins. So this will be a pretty interesting game. I think Warragul, my message is that their under 18 players will drop back to the under 18 side. Just how big a bearing that has, you know, negatively, I'm not sure. But I sort of tend to go for Warragul in this game. They're big guns. Bradley, Gray, Hughes have all played consistently well all year, and I don't think Maui's got the personnel to counter them, and I expect them to set up a win for Warragul.
Actually, I think Gray might be missing because I've got a feeling he's taken a week. He was reported in the Bairnsdale game.
You didn't tell me that.
I haven't told you that, sorry.
Yeah, well,
And I think
that's
Matty's taken the
very
week
bad.
there.
It should have been a headline in the paper. The league not being very forthcoming with vital information.
There's only 0.5% too. I mean, 64.32 for Maui, Warragul 63.86. So, and they're on it. So, it's not very often we do have two teams so close. So it is a very vital game for both. I think Maui might actually hold out because I believe Warragul's going to make sure their under 18 players are fit and ready for the finals, which I think they're in third position, and that sort of makes good sense for them. So I'll go for Maui. You still going for Warragul without Matty Gray?
Yeah.
Okay, Naomi, the netball.
No A grade netball.
That's right.
That's
Sorry, I
right.
said that before.
That's fine.
Okay.
You'll be in trouble next year if Maui put in an A grade.
Oh, no, I'd like to be in that type of trouble. Leongatha, they're hosting Bairnsdale.
No, they're not, are they?
Yeah, I think that's what it says in here.
That's what I got.
Yeah, Leongatha versus
Leongatha's
Bairnsdale.
at home.
Yeah.
Ah, very good. Somewhere in Wisconsin I had an idea that Leongatha travelled to Bairnsdale. Oh, well.
That's what it says in the Warragul Gazette, so
yeah.
I can only go by the Warragul
Yes,
Gazette.
that's, that sort of makes it pretty clear-cut Leongatha to me. Bairnsdale haven't travelled all that well during the season. Leongatha, they're going along. They won't have given up hope of really being there when the whips are cracking, despite some injuries that have really caused a few holes in their side. But they've still got plenty of depth and plenty of talent across all lines. I expect them to be too good for Bairnsdale. But Bairnsdale have come back a bit in the last few weeks. They've had a draw and a win the last 3 rounds after having a bit of a bad trot there for a month. And but things point too much to Leongatha for me.
Yeah, and I suppose we should just mention Jake Best, because Jake's always watching this at work in the morning, so hi to Jake. He had a good game last week. I think he might have kicked about, 3 goals the week before, that's right. But all the best, Jake, and he's one of their key players.
Good bloke, good acquisition this year.
Yes.
Gee whiz.
Okay, the netball.
Leongatha sitting at the top of the ladder. I think this week's going to be a week where they're really going to want to push through and prove why they're the top team. They shouldn't struggle at all with Bairnsdale, but it's a week where they really need to just nut it out and play 4 hard quarters and really boost that percentage again.
So who are the key players of Leongatha?
Ebony Best.
Is she related to Jake?
I don't know.
One would suggest they might be brother and
Could
sister.
be. But there's a couple of key players at Leongatha who are all sitting well up in vote count for this year. So, but it's a good overall team side. If they lose one player, there's another one that can step in, which is why they're so consistent and why they're so strong and why they're sitting at the top of the ladder, because they don't rely on any one player. They've got good strength right through their court.
Okay, we'll go to Morwell and Wonthaggi. Morwell hosting Wonthaggi. So, here's a chance for Wonthaggi to, theoretically, they can still make it, but Morwell were down a bit last week, so they've got to come out firing all guns as well, don't they?
Yeah, in Morwell's case, it's not hard to be a bit down against Sale and Sale. They were very competitive for the first quarter, and then Sale just sort of blew them away. Wonthaggi have been disappointing, particularly over the last 3 or 4 weeks when they've had a lot to play for, but they've lost a couple of games that really sort out whether they're worthy finalists. The loss at home to Druin, followed by you know, a loss at home to Traralgon. Wasn't the stuff of the finals. To get in, they've got to win their last 3 games. Moore and Traralgon, I think, have got to lose their last 3 games. Well, one of Moore and Traralgon will lose one because they play each other.
Yeah.
But I think the first part of the equation is I don't think Wonthaggi can string together the 3 wins, and I suspect it might be all over Rover this week. And I'll go for Moore. I understand Jack Brown has suffered another
injury, yeah.
ankle injury or something, and he's such a crucial part of what has been a very good defence.
Yeah, he has stood tall, and
That said, Wonthaggi's forward line has really been the thing that's cost them this year, I think.
hasn't been able to score the goal. So, yeah, I think Moore will win that one. It's too important for him at this stage.
Netball. So a really important game. This could be the decision between who gets 5th spot. Wonthaggi are 1 game ahead of Maule at the moment, but if Maule can get the win this week, percentage says that they'll go into 5th with 2 rounds to go. Maule are on a winning streak. Maule has started coming into some form, and I wouldn't count them out. They've been on winning form, and Wonthaggi have struggled a bit in the last couple of weeks with some losses. So I'm going to go for Maule.
Okay.
More desire.
Yeah, Moore will have, I think, Traralgon and Druin to come after this week. So
They do?
They've just got to win this week.
Yeah, they're going to win this week to have a chance.
Okay, we go to the final one, which is on Sunday, and this is one of the best local derbies around the region, you know, and it's probably up there with any other one around the state, actually. Maffra hosting Sale.
Yes, yeah, well, should be a good game. We'll start off and so I'll stick with Sale. I just think they've got too many guns. Maffra will be there. They managed to find a way when it comes to the finals. They haven't been flash this year, but they're holding on to 3rd. I think they've only lost about 3 games, or maybe 4, something like that.
Yeah, no, they're still...
So they seem to just be able to roll along despite losing a player here or there and some injuries, and they just seem to pop up with guys. I noticed Daniel Bedgood again last week, getting amongst the goals with about 5, and he's just, you know, he's been a real key to them this year, a young player, but gee, rarely does a week go by that he doesn't get a few goals, and sometimes gets a 5 or 6 ball. So he's been important for them, especially with Adrian Bergier there. Hayden Bergier coming back and playing good footy seems to have given them a bit of a spur along. But I just think Sale's just got too much strength everywhere, and she'll get over the top of Maffra. But as you say, the local derby always throws up something. There'll be something happen in this game. I don't know what it'll be, but there'll be something happen, and they'll have another huge crowd there to see it, provided we get a reasonable day.
Yeah, no, look, they always pull a huge crowd. It's unbelievable the number of people that get there. I personally think that Sale is the better side, but because it's the local derby and at Maffra, I'm sort of leaning to maybe an upset here. Even though I definitely do think Sale's the better side, but actually I'm going to tip Maffra to cause the upset because Sale's going across to the village, as that's sometimes is called, and I think Maffra will be pulling out all stops, and they'll have their old supporters there, old time supporters there, in Johnny Olven and all the crew cheering them on, and I'll tip Maffra to cause an upset. What about the netball?
Well, when these two teams met in the first half of the season, Sale were just too strong for Maffra. I think Sale are really going to need a settler this week. They're the stronger of the two sides on paper, and I think that they probably will get over this week, but it may be in their head that they need the win as well. So whether or not they can just put that aside and focus on playing good netball, if they can do that, then they'll come out with a win.
Okay, fair enough. Have we got any other points we need to raise? I see the paper's got the insurance message gaining legs. Now, as you've been on that the last couple of weeks, it's about trying to get the VCFL and AFL to actually increase the capital payout. Now that is gaining a bit of legs. I've had a fair few calls about it. It was mainly in the press in the southern region and not sort of getting anywhere else around the league. But the Warrell Gazette through Keith have taken the baton, and hopefully we can, with this message that we're getting across to the AFL and the VCFL, hopefully we can get them to either make it compulsory or at least increase that capital benefit when there is a serious injury to someone in our football.
Yeah, well, I think it might gain a bit more legs. I understand the Weekly Times is going to do something pretty substantial on it this week, which is Wednesday's edition. But I think it's something the football community has to really push hard over the very short term, because we know what happens when summer comes and people's minds switch off football, and we don't want to be sitting around next March and saying, well, what's available? Yeah. I think it's something that's got to move pretty quickly. I was quite impressed when I spoke with the VCFL chief, Stephen Reaper, last week, and he obviously realises the issue. Yeah. It's just a matter of how it's handled and where the buck stops. But I think the buck stops with everybody, and it's just up to everybody to say, rightio, we've got to go with this. It's what we've got now is just not good enough, and it's not fair enough on the players, on the clubs. I think I noticed when I sort of hosted Lee and Gathra at Druin a couple of weeks ago that the stress that is causing throughout the club is enormous, and let alone to his family and to Bo. So we just don't want to see that, apart from the stress of the injury, the financial worries into the future adding to that stress and trauma that families and individuals may have.
And look, the good thing about it is that Bo's actually in a wheelchair now. He hasn't got a lot of feeling. Obviously, he's got feeling in one of his arms, but there's a long road to toe there. But Bo's been showing some great energy, and he's working his butt off to try and pick himself up. But he is going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And we just implore everyone, just keep buying those tickets that's on at every club, and also if you've got a spare dollar, whack it in the bank and help him out. Anyway, I think that's about it for this week. That's us, and hopefully we have a good weekend, good weather. Sure, we have got a couple of really good games there that you can go along and have a look at netball and footy. So we'll see you next week for round 17.